Creating a warm email isn't easy, but if you break it down, there's really three main things you need to do to create a good, warm email. The first thing you do is offer personalization. The second thing you do is offer contextualization. And the third thing you do is email the person when the intent is right and let them know why that intent matters. Let's break down each of the three. First, when it comes to personalization, this is the easy stuff they're already doing, but probably aren't getting a very high reply rate for. These are things like what school they went to, what you have in common, one thing about them that you like, one thing about their company that you think is cool. This stuff is great and is best put in the PS of the email. That's because if you want the person to really care, you have to hit them with the problem they care about and the reason you're reaching out. And the PS just kind of seals the deal to show that you personalized and done your homework and are a real human. Now let's move on to contextualization. Contextualization is basically understanding what matters to that prospect. This is why your company or your solution will solve a problem that they may or may not have. You can really do some deep dive in your research to look at things that they might be posting on social media that allude to different problems. Maybe you can look at whether or not they're hiring for certain roles, which may also allude to different problems in different stages of companies. Once you've figured out which problem you should probably most directly address to that prospect and how your solution can help, you have the bare bones of the email. You have your problem, you have your solution, and your PS for personalization. But the big thing that's missing is the intent, the reason that you should reach out. And a lot of people think that, oh, if maybe I saw that person visiting my website, that it's a good time to send an email. I don't necessarily think that's the case. With this new concept of signal-led sales, there's now dozens of different signals that might indicate whether or not a prospect is ready to be outreached to. However, if those signals are light, then you're going to want to ask your marketing team to take action and really keep warming up that prospect. But for you as a salesperson, you don't really want to take the time to reach out until the timing is truly right. And that involves signal stacking. Signal stacking is the idea that you take multiple signals on top of each other until that lead reaches a high enough intent score that it might be worth reaching out and finally sending that email. So again, you can have the three parts of your email. You have personalization, contextualization, and then intent. But that intent needs to be hot enough. Some of the examples, signals that you might consider thinking about when you're sort of stacking your signals on top of each other would be first-party signals, whether they visited your website or visited a free part of your product. Two, whether or not they are exhibiting second-party signals, like whether they're researching you on various review sites or whether they're posting about topics related to what you sell and communities that they're a part of, or potentially social media sites like LinkedIn or Facebook. And then finally, third-party signals, which is whether independently they're talking about with their teams or doing sort of general research into the topic of what you sell. You can do more nuanced signals as well, like whether or not there's new news for the company, whether or not they're hiring roles related to what you sell, whether they have job change alerts set up where they're showing up at a new account that you want to land and are previously a customer, whether or not they're adding in new integrations that are similar to integrations that you sell. All of these things combined can offer really interesting signals. And I would try to stack a few of them on top of each other before recognizing that this prospect is truly ready for a direct sales outreach email. However, you can always automate the reach out to these prospects if they're not quite ready yet and only exhibiting one or two signals. But at the point at which they're exhibiting 3 or 4 different signals, that is when you finally have enough intent signals stacked that it's worth reaching out. So all in summary, to create that warm email, you want to create the contextualization, so the problem you solve and why your solution matters to them, the why you're reaching out. These are the intent-based reasons why I think it's a good time for us to chat based on what I'm seeing about you, and then a PS on something important to them or a way that you can finally connect.